You have so long observed the world. Why not consider joining it?
But I have no desire to live as humans. I have the Fade. Besides this talk of taking on a solid form, I think you underestimate the danger. When you took the glowing stone to build your body, did the earth not shake?
Delirium gives us the strength we had when we were of the Fade. We are the best of physical and spirit. I need your wisdom, Solus, to withstand the louder voices who would go too far like Elganon. I need you.
This is madness. You must know that. I will always follow where you go.
What?
This is astounding. The ancient elves were spirits who voluntarily manifested a physical form.
I'd rather go back to talking about the Blight.
Hey, Lucanus. Could Spite turn into an elf?
No.
Sorry, but... what?
This is just, Are all elves spirits somehow? Am I a spirit?
To be clear, this memory only shows that the first elves originated from spirits. You three are no more spirits than anyone else conceived naturally.
Conceived naturally? Guess I'll go ask my mother.
The knowledge that an entire people were formed from a mass manifestation could change our entire understanding of magic.
If we let it out, is that the right call? Do you want bigoted humans yelling about how elves are demons?
Davrin's got a point. World's not short on small-minded humans.
If the world learned about this, and it led to attacks against elves...
Elves have enough trouble as it is down in Ferelden.
We have to tell someone, though. Strife and Irulan, at least.
If I told Thea and Viago, they'd think I was sampling Viago's poison collection. No one will believe us.
Okay. We keep this to people we trust who have good reason to know. No shouting it from the rooftops.
Agreed. The Morn Watch has a great deal of experience keeping dangerous secrets.
So, beyond the world-shaking stuff, what else did we learn here? Solus himself was a spirit.
What kind do you think he was?
Well, his name is Elven for pride.
Oh, okay.
There's something else. Not about spirits, or not all about them at least. Solus didn't want to become a person with a physical body.
Right. He only agreed after Mathal begged him.
Then that's his regret. He wishes he'd never taken physical form.
Maybe, but not just that. Solus was scared. They built their bodies out of lyrium, and it made the ground shake.
Lyrium is the blood of the Titans.
The Titans would have felt it as an attack. They defended themselves.
The first memory we saw, with Elganon seizing power, it happened at the end of a war.
A war between the Titans and the elves.
Lace, I'm so sorry.
It feels like we still don't have the full picture. But I think that's part of what Solus regrets. He didn't see the danger.
Except he did. He was worried. You said it yourself.
He did it for Mithal. Everything that followed, he could have prevented if he just told her no.
Then he's got a war on his conscience. Plus, whatever we find next.
She felt it all over. Her attraction to the hero, a powerful but properly contained tingle, nearly exquisite. Properly contained. No, sounds bad. Okay, cut the middle line, much more natural.
What are you working on?
Oh! Rook! I didn't see you. What did you hear?
Enough to get a powerful but properly contained tingle?
That isn't, I mean, I'm not, Oh, you're joking, right?
Most of the time, yeah.
Nev found me more cereals. I've read them, all of them, multiple times. And I thought maybe I could try it, writing my own, I mean. Not like Varric Tethrus, but my own sort of thing. For me, and people like me. Something to focus on besides Syrian and all of that. And you know, you're also interesting. It helps for inspiration.
Fighting ancient gods does keep things interesting.
And you know the rest. Which, speaking of things and questions, I have a question for you. An important one. Us. I mean, that's the question. Do you want an us? I mean, romantically? Okay, worst possible way to ask that.
I'm sorry if I sent out mixed signals, but I think of you as a friend.
Oh, no. Don't apologize. It's okay. Better to be sure. Being upfront is important, especially on a team like this. Anyways, I'd better finish writing this scene. See you around, Rook.
Is that Zara Renata? This place isn't big enough to keep every corpse you guys find.
Zara spoke to Ilario before she died. Emmerich can talk to the dead. I have to know.
I wouldn't have offered my skills if I thought it was unsafe. Let flame rekindle your sight. Let breath and light rise again. Tell us about Ilario della Morte.
Martyrs. He fooled us both.
Elaborate.
You took what he wanted most in this world. More than coin, pleasure, family.
The title of First Talon.
If that's what he wanted, why imprison you? Why not just kill you? No offense.
It's a fair question.
Death was the original plan. But this one doesn't waste those with potential.
And Katerina? Did Ilario hire you to kill her?
No.
Ilario used blood magic to control spite. How? He's not a mage.
Our risen god gives many gifts.
Elgranon? Ilario's working with Elgranon?
Her spirit strong. Haste would be appreciated.
Let her go. We've heard enough.
Well, that was pretty damning.
Ilario has much to answer for.
In blood, if nothing else.
What are you gonna do?
Take away everything from him.
The voices again.
But surely the knowledge you gained.
My champions offered themselves willingly. More works of precision laid low before finding their full potential.
You will have new subjects in recompense, whatever you wish.
Rook's companions seek to fight as one. Combining their traits into a single form would be edifying.
Inspired. Consider it done.
Ignore them. We're taking these bastards down before they ever get the chance.
I've heard another landscape has been added to your collection.
It grows. Arm yourselves. The dead await.
Should you need me, I'm ready to plunge back into the fray. Now, what do you have to say for yourself?
Did I miss something?
Since we're here to gather flowers for the dead, I thought I'd teach Manfred some plant names. But I just caught him attempting to wade into a rose bush.
Emmerich, how could you stay annoyed at that face? Skull.
Oh, Manfred. Whatever will happen to you if I pass on?
If?
Ah, there's something I'd like to talk about. Do you know what a lich is, Rook?
An undead mage that's retained their mind. They're theoretical, aren't they?
The idea fascinated me when I was younger. For years, I researched and experimented, spoke with spirits and mages. Then, eventually, I found them.
Who?
The Lich Lords of the Grand Necropolis. Necromancers before me who'd transformed themselves into true living dead.
Incredible. Do the other Watchers know?
Well, the most senior do. You weren't high enough in the Order to be informed. The Liches are the great protectors of the Necropolis, bulwarks against forces that threaten creation. After years of tests and rituals, they granted me my desire, the right to attempt lichdom.
Hold on. If you become a lich, then all this flirting we've been doing...
I should hate to lose your company while I'm still mortal.
What would you being a lich be like?
A vast leap. Flesh cast aside for bone, returned immortal for all time.
The whole necropolis will be jealous.
Oh, I don't want to incite any envy.
Emmerich, you've met our fellow necromancers. Also, I notice you haven't answered what lichdom means for flirting.
Our prohibitions regarding the dead wouldn't apply to a lich, but I'd inform you before making any decision to... Lichdom is an incredible honor. Immortality, prestige, the most hallowed ranks of the Watchers, as well as a chance to be of service past my allotted years. But there are considerations. Come, we have flowers to gather for the dead.
Okay, but I've got questions.
Blue creepvine. This will do nicely.
So if you were a lich, it wouldn't be a spirit mimicking you? It'd be your actual soul in the corpse?
It would.
I didn't think... wait, is that what Vorgoth is?
Oh, no one knows what Vorgoth is. Moon blossoms, famed in verse and song.
Smells like perfume. Do liches have a sense of smell?
I've been told that while some of my senses will dull, others will become available. Other than that, I can't say if the flowers would still hold their bloom for me. Lichdom serves a purpose. There are dark things in creation, threats to both our world and the Fade. The liches of the necropolis have the insight and the abilities to oppose them.
And you're joining them. When?
Certain elements have held me back. There's no ready instructions for lichdom. The steps must be discovered on one's own over years to be fully understood.
Does the spell to become a lich kill you, or do you have to...
No, mercifully, that falls to another Watcher. After my death, my soul will be drawn back into my body instead of moving on to whatever lies beyond. I cannot reveal more, even to a fellow necromancer.
I understand. So, what's holding you back from lichdom?
Even with all my preparations, there's a chance I could die, permanently, during the rites. What cowardice! The promise of immortality, an end to all my fears, and the final veil stays my hand.
That's reasonable. Lots of people are afraid of dying.
Is it? When it keeps me from what I most desire? Traditionally, candidates for lichdom face one final sifting of the soul. If they avoid it, you saw my old colleague.
Hezengas. She's a lich?
A half-lich, though that hasn't diminished her powers. Until I stop her plans, I won't possess the peace of mind for lichdom. Why don't you select the next flowers, Rook?
Sure. So what's a half-lich exactly?
Johanna attempted the rites of lichdom and failed. Stuck in her in-between state, she is supremely dangerous, but can't learn any new magic.
No wonder Hezengas was shouting so much.
No. She's always been that way.
What about the sifting of a soul that Hezenkas avoided?
The spirits of the necropolis judge whether a candidate is worthy of the power and responsibility of lichdom.
How'd she become a lich without it?
I shared some knowledge when we were colleagues. She apparently put together more than I knew. It would be just like her to skip the rituals, the cleansings, the preparations of the soul.
For a Watcher, Hezenkas is pretty harsh on spirits.
We made allowances because of her discoveries. Too many. Spirits are not things to be disposed of.
You really care about them.
They're so susceptible to the world's whims, Rook. Some spirits are dangerous, but how quickly most respond to a bit of kindness or care or simple attempt to understand. For all she's done, I can't condemn Johanna for attempting lichdom. That freedom from mortality, that divorce from fear. And of course, time to read all of one's books.
Every mage's dream.
But how she's abused her abilities. Are my intentions enough to fare better?
Worrying's a good sign. You know, Manfred, even the life of a Watcher ends in a grave. Well, maybe it doesn't exactly end for a lich.
We have enough flowers. There's something I'd like to show you. Here we are.
Oh, so these flowers are for...
Yes. If you could place them on the graves, please.
In memory of Rupert and Eleanor Volkaren. They walk eternity hand in hand.
After I became a Watcher, I erected a proper shrine to my parents. When I come to talk, I like to think they listen. Well, don't be shy. Introduce yourself.
Rook, also a Morn Watcher. How do you do? Do you remember your parents?
Some memories are bright. Others are akin to those dim early morning dreams one gets sometimes. Lately, I wondered what they'd think of our current course. The choices ahead.
Your lichdom.
What would they have wanted me to be?
Happy with someone who cares for you.
Shroud's Kiss. I've always loved the legend around this flower. They say it grows on lovers' graves, and that one moves closer to the Fade simply by inhaling its fragrance.
Is that true?
It is when I will it, my dear.
What else?
What a day of unexpected splendor. Rook, darling, I was thinking of spending an evening with just the two of us.
I'd like that.
Wonderful. I've made all the arrangements at the necropolis. We'll leave whenever you're ready.
Hey, Rook. Come and stare into the fire. I've heard that helps people think. Can't say I've had luck with it.
Rook, you're here.
Is something wrong?
Biago and Thedas sent word. They have information about Ilario. Whatever it is, they wish to speak away from Treviso, away from anyone who might be listening. They won't put more to paper. I need to meet with them as soon as possible.
How did you find everything?
I never ate this well when I was training in the necropolis.
You may be interested to know I was permitted to raise a few cooks from the royal crypts tonight.
Wait, not from the tomb of Venesca IV.
I'd hoped the evening might impress. The amount of work on you worries me, Rook. Responsibility exacts a toll on the body.
I have been more tired lately.
More so than you might even realize. I do ask that you at least avoid putting pressure on that stiff left wrist.
That's a little stiff. Impressed you spotted it.
Well, I am familiar with the finer points of anatomy. It's good we made time for this. A couple should get to know one another in comfort.
Time to dig into our feelings?
I'd be delighted if the mood moves you.
Okay, so Emmerich, I wanted to tell you something. You're my first anything. I have never been with anyone romantically.
We can move slowly, and I'm glad you chose me.
It's been good so far.
Oh, excellent.
Devastating charm aside, what do you like about me?
Apart from the compliment of your interest?
Come on.
Darling, it's gratifying a fresh-faced adventurer noticed me at all. And your spirit does charm, but there's also something quite indomitable about you, Rook. It inspires.
Ah, thanks. What's your favorite color?
Well, can I only choose one?
Let me guess. Black? Green? Yellow, but like a bone yellow?
Lilac.
Of course you went to a flower.
It's such a pretty shade of purple. It brings thoughts of spring. And what's your favorite shade of color?
Rich purple. The kind you get with those really expensive dyes.
It's the color of royalty in some kingdoms.
Maybe I've got ambitions. Anyway, should we enjoy the garden?
Certainly. They're wondering what we're up to. Wisps are ever attracted to the gardens.
Like you?
The Fade is close here. As our spirits I count as guides and friends. Beyond that, I feel there are mysteries past our comprehension. Something beyond the weft of magic or deepest Fade. When I'm fortunate, I spy suggestions of them here.
Like when you're out looking at stars and you stare so long you're dizzy?
Yes, the indefinable, tipping its faintest reach into ourselves.
Totally what I meant.
Sometimes, my dear, I think you indulge me.
When I'm in the mood.
This smells amazing. Does all coffee smell like this? Or just the stuff you make?
Coffee has a distinct aroma, if that's what you're asking.
Sorry. It was really rare where I grew up. And expensive.
Try everything once. That's what I say.
I want to, but sometimes I just like having what I like.
Nothing wrong with that. So, Harding, what do you think?
It's... delicious.
Really selling it, Harding.
Hey, I've known some liars, and I am definitely not it. And this stuff, it's good. It's warm.
I won't be upset if you don't like coffee.
He really wouldn't.
I know, but sorry. It's just this thing I do sometimes.
Acting so people will like you?
It sounds terrible when you say it like that. I know I don't need to do it. I just do.
Well, everyone you know seems to like you, so you're good.
Good job, Lace.
You must have been pretty tiny as a child.
Where'd that come from?
A tiny dwarven girl in a land of large human farmers.
Oh, yeah. I probably learned pretty quick that things worked out better if people liked me. If they agreed with me, or I agreed with them.
Some people like cream or sugar in their coffee.
Maybe coffee just isn't my thing.
Not a bad view.
Careful with that.
But of course.
It's the only lead I've got.
My dear Davron, I'll be as careful with this cloth as if it were burial silk from the Storm Age. And this will be so instructive for Manfred. Ah, Rook, just in time.
The two of you together? This looks like trouble.
The beginnings of it, we hope.
That piece of cloth I tore off the Gloom Howler back at the Cauldron still has some of its blood on it.
And now, through the application of necromancy, perfected by the Morn Watch through years of meticulous...
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what the Gloom Howler is.
Rather, discern its nature.
How?
By setting it on fire?
Patience. To discern, one must sometimes destroy. Ah, yes, of course. How interesting.
What is it?
It says this was elven blood. This was a person.
What? But it howls.
A corrupted person. Not always a monster. And something else. Dirthsel. I'm unfamiliar with the meaning.
An elven word. For covenant. Like a promise. Or a blood oath. I think I get it. An elf who took a vow, then gets blighted. An elf who knew about griffins and Warden's secrets.
Almost as if...
It was a warden.
Hunting a monster is one thing, but a warden gone bad? What'll it do to the griffins?
It kept talking about saving them. Something else is going on here. I'll put out the word, call in favors, see who might know more. But thanks for your help, Emmerich. You, discerned well.
My pleasure.